So, I am wondering, why do men never ask a girl on a date anymore? I find anytime I've ever talked to guys, it's always like, oh, like, let's watch a movie, which obviously I know where that leads. But, anyways, please clarify about why you guys do not ask girls on dates anymore.
Guys, this might be the only time I'll ever say this at the start of a video, but the point made by this woman in the clip is absolutely right. A lot of men are choosing not to date women anymore. Like she said, they'll say, "Hey, let's watch a movie. Come on over. My house is free." Anyway, to avoid wasting any time, I'll get straight to the content. Here's 5 reasons why this is happening. Men are waking up and not taking women on proper dates anymore. Number 1. Quite simply, the woman isn't relationship material. This is the thing about a lot of guys. A man might be happy to hook up, spend the night with a woman who's potentially 2-3 points lower than himself. It's not uncommon for 6 out of 10 guys to spend nights with 4 out of 10 women. However, these men will almost never want to take these women on proper dates, show his friends, or pretty much ever be seen outside in public with her. In most cases, a guy will only do these things if he believes a woman is on or around his level. This is the first criteria for which a man will begin to take a woman seriously and give her the time of day. Otherwise, why would a man spend time and money trying to jump through hoops when he knows he's more attractive? The second criteria that's also necessary and explains why a woman may not be relationship material even if she's attractive is because she doesn't meet certain characteristics guys see as necessary for relationships. Common bad characteristics include, but not limited to, having a promiscuous past, cheated on any previous partners, vain social media accounts, having a history of drugs, being on OnlyFans, and so on. And the point is, a lot of guys will be more than happy to date these women casually, inviting them over for short-term fun, but the vast majority of them wouldn't dream of seeing them long-term despite the fact they may be physically attractive enough. Now, before I move on to reason 2, I'm going to expand a little more on this point here about promiscuous pasts. Because I see a lot of people, both men and women in fact, who don't understand why it's obviously seen as a negative by most guys. I've sometimes heard women say, "Yeah, I've slept around, but I'm ready to settle down now and my past doesn't change who I am as a person." Nope, all of this is wrong. You can't just jump off the carousel when you please and think men are just going to accept you for it. It doesn't work like that. Here's an example. Let's say you know a guy who's known to have stolen money from people in the past. If this is the case, you're hardly going to trust him with your wallet the first day he says he's never going to steal again. Similarly, if a woman claims she's ready to settle down, how will a guy know this is true and she won't go back to her previous ways? It makes no sense for him to give her his commitment, and in fact, it's a much safer option for him to keep things casual. This is the first reason why men don't ask women on proper dates anymore. Now moving on to reason 2, and this applies mainly to women approaching or already above 30. And that is the majority of high quality men who desire relationships are already taken. This one's easy to explain and I'll do it using this chart I've used in 2 previous videos. Picture. When a woman is in her low 20s, she's going to be in a position of abundance of all 4 of these types of men. She's at her attractiveness peak, so all the attention is going to be on her. There's going to be men with good genetics, tall, strong, good eyes, hair, jawline, and men with bad genetics, weak, short, low testosterone. There will also be men that are good and bad providers. Bad providers, the guys who are broke, don't value commitment, are promiscuous or at least trying to be. Meanwhile, good providers are men with high ambition, stable resources and value relationships and commitment. Also, I just want to point out that although not many men in their early 20s are going to be immediate good providers, the key is they'll have potential. They'll be the ones getting great educations, on a path to well-paying, high-status careers, or alternatively, they may be starting a business or 2 on the side, which are just beginning to get their feet off the ground. Either way, these guys aren't bringing home the big bucks yet. But the potential is key and their prosperity is likely just around the corner. Anyway, the point is, as time goes by and some women spend their best years partying, going out, casually dating, the pool of highest quality guys dwindles. The good genetics, good provider guys are the first to go as they pair off with other high quality women. In fact, this group dwindles far faster than any of the other three. The beta provider group effectively stays the same as they get friend zoned or placed into the party girls' orbit. The fuckboy group also stays the same as none of them wanted to commit anyway. And the low value men group never changes because they don't bring anything to the table. So by the time a woman is approaching or reaches her 30s, the only options she'll have left are these undesirable groups. And if she foolishly chooses to date the most attractive guys, chances are she'll bump into one of these fuckboys and wind down the bitter spiral saying, guys don't want to commit anymore, they're all jerks. Where did all the good men go? But the reality is, maybe she had chances with the highest quality guys who wanted relationships when she was in her youth, but she declined the offers so she could spend more time partying. Additionally, adding one more point to this, even if there are a few high value men that are left at her age, or some of the beta providers ascend to high value men, chances are they'll want to date the younger, most attractive girls in their early 20s. They have the value to do it, so why wouldn't they? Anyway, bottom line, as a woman ages, she will likely find slimmer and slimmer pickings available dating wise. And the only men left are going to be genetically inferior beta guys or the same Chad alphas who are never going to settle down. Okay, so those are my first two reasons, and now I've got these out the way, now is a good time to press a like button and leave any thoughts you have in the comments below, as it helps the YouTube algorithm. Now moving on to reason 3, why women are getting asked out on fewer dates. And that is, the possible backlash of guys asking women out and getting rejected is way too high nowadays. Here's what I mean by this. In 2022, if you get rejected by a girl, it can take a matter of minutes for her to exponentially multiply the social damage you will face. This is especially true if your social circles intertwine a fair amount. I've seen screenshots like this before, and if you can't see what's happened here, a man has innocently asked a woman out over text. 1 minute later, it is screenshotted and uploaded to social media by the girl for the eyes of potentially thousands of people, and then bam, any social stature this man previously had is annihilated. And it's also the woman who gets the offer can amplify her received validation. Anyway, the point is, this magnification effect has only been possible since the explosion of social media about 10 years ago. Prior to this, the potential negative consequences of rejection weren't anywhere close to being on the same level. Previously, if a guy asked a girl out, he got rejected. The worst that could happen is she tells a few of her friends and his reputation is a little damaged. But nowadays, our social circles are just way interconnected. The poisoning of the well effect I've talked about in previous videos is so strong right now. Now moving on to reason 4. And this leads on from the last point and shows why men are now just asking women to come over. As I'm about to explain, it is a far, far safer option. So, the way I see it, unless a woman is really low value and will take any source of male attention as an ego boost, it's likely she'll actually feel ashamed of the fact guys regularly ask her for hookups. She'll think, do guys think I'm easy? Do they think I'm unworthy of a relationship and only view me as a fun time? Have some of the guys I've been with in the past spread a bad word about me? You see, when women get asked to come over, unless she's low value, she doesn't actually take pride from the offers. She'll in fact have a reduction in self-esteem after a guy has lowballed her like that. Meanwhile, when a woman gets asked on an official date, she'll feel a massive amount of gratification from that and see herself in very high regard. She'll think, look at these men, they want to court me, take me places, spend money on me. This means I must be high value and for reasons unrelated to my natural beauty. My own conversations confirm this. I've had some really in-depth conversations about this with women recently, and what I've always found is their proudest moments are when they get asked out on a real date by a guy. And whether they're interested in him or not, they always take it as a huge internalization of validation. On the flip side, in these same conversations, women's most envious and bitter moments are stories about themselves hooking up with a guy only for him to never see her again the next day. They describe it as feeling used. This reinforces the point that women are not at all proud of being offered casual intimacy from a guy, as it shows nothing in terms of validating their non-physical value. Therefore, getting to the main point, from a guy's perspective, it is a far safer option for him to offer casual intimacy first, as he knows there's only a minute chance it will backfire on him, as the woman is unlikely to spread word around about his offer for an ego boost. Now on to reason 5, entitlement and expectation a man should pay on dates. I've noticed recently a lot of women out there are wanting to have their cake and eat it too. Here's a simple question. Why would a man want to go on dozens of dates with a woman when it's going to add up a ton and chances are won't even lead anywhere? And no, the notion of men make more money so they should pay is no longer relevant or justified. Like, I understand why men were expected to pay for everything 100 years ago when women weren't making money, but now society has changed, so both men and women are working and both are financially able to put money on the table. And even putting aside for a second the financial part of the equation, and more taking a look at the moral side. In my eyes, it makes zero logical sense why one sex should have to pay for the other. To me, this inequality sounds like the very definition of sexism. Secondly, a lot of women have double standards within themselves. For some men, a woman may expect him to take her out on a bunch of dates, give her constant attention, be available, and make him wait for intimacy, and that's if he ever gets it. Meanwhile, for a different type of guy, who she may barely know from an online dating app, she'll simply show up at his house and have intimacy with him for free, no strings attached. This is the inequality. Why is the price set for one man different for another man? And if a new guy comes along, surely he's going to strive for the second option, the lower price, so he knows he's not wasting his time or money and he knows what he's getting is guaranteed. It's human nature that people always follow the path of least resistance. This is why it's a contradiction. If a woman has ever hooked up from an online dating app, club, or whatever else, she cannot get upset on social media saying guys don't want to date her properly, as she has not priced herself at that level. She has priced herself at zero and therefore deserves to get zero. It'd be no different from a store owner selling a product for really cheap, which obviously attracts a lot of new customers. Then, all of a sudden, he decides to go back to the higher price, and then he complains no one wants to buy his product anymore. So, back to the point, you can't just pick and choose what your price is depending on the guy who's approached you, or depending on how you feel on the day. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, that's the video guys, and these are my 5 reasons why men have stopped dating. Make sure you like the video and leave your thoughts below as it helps the YouTube algorithm.